I'm Bill Purdy. My job is to keep you out of trouble. How do I do this? I do this by stopping problems before they start. When we take on challenging projects, there are going to be problems. That's a given. That's what makes them challenging, right? We're doing great things in NewSpace. We are enabling the space economy by driving huge amounts of cost out of the business of building satellites. We all know how challenging this is. We all know we're taking lots of risks. Risks of making mistakes, risks of learning lessons that have been learned long ago. I really enjoy my job of helping my NewSpace customers succeed in meeting these challenges and in minimizing the risks they are taking. How am I able to do this? I do this by leveraging my extensive experience in satellites and space mechanisms to identify problems that my customers may not yet be aware of, and equally importantly, identify solutions for these problems. Because if all I do is identify a problem without a solution, I've just given everybody one more thing to worry about, and what good is that? In my career, I've stayed technical. I really like doing technical work, and it's what I'm best at. Along the way, I've gotten to work on 33 different satellites that have flown and over 50 mechanisms that have flown. And I have learned from every single satellite, every single mechanism, and every single person I've worked with. In the field of mechanisms, I've gotten to work on pretty much every type of mechanism that can fly on a satellite. And this has been a great education in what works in mechanisms and, equally importantly, what doesn't work in mechanisms. With satellites, I've gotten to work at the system engineering level for satellites for much of my career. And that, too, has been a great education. I've worked on satellites from this big to 10,000 pounds. And in working at the systems engineering level, I've really gotten to learn the ins and outs of how satellites work, why they do things the way they do them, why they're constructed the way they're constructed, and perhaps most importantly, how requirements flow down, how they flow down from the mission level to the satellite level, subsystem level, hardware level. And if there's one thing I've learned about requirements is that it's way easier to create a bad requirement than it is to create a good requirement. And bad requirements generate a lot of excess work, excess cost, and of course, excess schedule. Often in my career, I've been able to talk to my customer and point out, you know, with what we're doing right here, there's going to be a problem. This is why it's a problem, and this is how I know it's a problem. And if we make this change here and this change here, we'll solve the problem, and this is how I know it will solve the problem. Typically, this has come from my experience with said problem or with somebody else experiencing said problem. The other way I'm really looking to provide value for my customers is studying their requirements. Really, the best way to meet a requirement is to determine that it didn't need to be a requirement in the first place. It was totally unnecessary and can be gotten rid of. Many other times, a performance requirement will ask for a level of performance that's much higher than is really needed to achieve the mission. And if the performance requirement can be reduced, made easier, then our job of building the satellite is made easier and the cost of the satellite is made lower. When I get to do one of these two things, it really makes me happy because I know I've helped my customer and I've provided the value they've been looking for. Mentoring. I feel strongly that every senior engineer has a responsibility to provide mentoring to the next generation of engineers. In my wanderings through the world of NewSpace, I've seen that there are a lot of great young engineers. There is a lot of talent in NewSpace, and this is great. When I take on a job for a customer, I always feel there's an unspoken task for me to offer mentoring to the people I work with, share the knowledge I've learned, share the experience I've gained. And it really makes me happy when I know I'm able to help these great young engineers get even better by sharing what I've learned in my various adventures in space. At the end of the day, I get the greatest satisfaction of the satellites that fly that I've made significant contribution to. That's why I always keep my count. 33 is my count right now. I can't wait for it to grow. I really, really want the satellites I work on to succeed. My customers really want their satellites to succeed. And that's why I can say, and I really do mean this, that your success is my success.